Thank you, Mr. Speaker. From the onset, I want to empathize and sympathize with many Kenyans and police officers who have lost their lives over anarchy that we witnessed yesterday in the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I'm also happy that most of our colleagues, including yourself, escaped unearthed. Mr. Speaker, extra times needs extra measures. While we agree, Mr. Speaker, that the conversation that started in good faith and with serious concerns is very valid. Mr. Speaker, we would not want to lose our country to people who want to take advantage of the situation that we are in as a country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let us remain focused. What happened yesterday at Parliament was unfortunate. It should never have happened. It should not have happened, Mr. Speaker. I remember one of my colleagues a few weeks ago, we didn't question the security systems within Parliament, and it is good the Commissioner of PSC is here, Senator Okongo Omugeni. Through you, Mr. Speaker, I wish Senator Okongo Omugeni would be listening. When we questioned, Mr. Speaker, even at the opening of the Bunge Towers, we were told there are 3 layers of security within Bunge Square. But yesterday, people had to run through ambulances, Mr. Speaker. People had to sleep in ambulances like cops, Mr. Speaker, which was very unfortunate. But when we questioned the security of Parliament the last 3 weeks ago or 1 month, we were being told we were being populist. Some of us were being threatened to be taken to powers and privileges for speaking out. And I said on this floor of the House, Mr. Speaker, that if we cannot speak for ourselves, who will speak for us? Yesterday, the people came, invaded, Mr. Speaker, the Parliament, which has never happened in the history of this republic. So, Speaker, I shudder to think that if those young men and women would have accessed Parliament when we are in session, Mr. Speaker, they would not care who you are. I saw some of my colleagues, respectively from the minority, trying to escape through the bypass. And I don't want to name names, Mr. Speaker. They were calling them enemies, and they were people of the minority side who have even voted no for the finance bill. Mr. Speaker, I want to assure the country, and as leaders, we must come together. Despite our political affiliation, despite our thinking, it will not matter whether you are on the minority and majority. When the Gen Zs come for us, they will not care how you spoke or the affiliation that you have. They will only care with one thing. What have you done for this country, Mr. Speaker? What have you said? And I agree, it is the time to fight impunity, to fight corruption, Mr. Speaker. And anybody who has taken public money, Mr. Speaker, anybody who has shown arrogance and impunity, Mr. Speaker, including even counties, and I want to challenge governors, they might feel that they are safe. In fact, from the sources, allegations I'm hearing, the next stop is county governments, Mr. Speaker, and county institutions, because Kenyans are tired. They want to have a country. And I'm happy for the first time, as a country, we're having a conversation by the people, and for the people, for the sake of the betterment of the future of this republic, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, thirdly, Mr. Speaker, I tend to disagree with the majority and minority leader. Even in terms of war, in Iraq, in Israel, and everywhere across the world, there is no way Parliament has run away from responsibility. Mr. Speaker, respectfully, while I agree there could be persuasive reasons, if we run away when our leadership is needed more than ever, who will provide leadership from Nyamira? Bishop, who will provide leadership when we are all a coward and being in our underbeds, somewhere in Nyamira, somewhere in Narok, Mr. Speaker, somewhere in Kapsabet, Mr. Speaker? This is the right time we should be sitting as Parliament and be part of the conversation on what the young people are raising. If they need imagine if young people tomorrow, Mr. Speaker, said in their proposal, we need policy and legislative intervention. Where will we be? We will be somewhere taking care of cows in Narok, or somewhere in Luanda where the market is in disarray, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let us avoid this being emotional. I know there is wisdom on adjournment. But, Mr. Speaker, since the chamber is somehow functional, and I've seen, on a lighter note, Mr. Speaker, some of us have been having reservations of food. I saw the Gen Z saying the chef of bunge should look at the recipe. They are putting too much pili-pili. But, Mr. Speaker, even the functionality of our hospitality sources around are still functional up to 80%. Even, and I know, although our staff also were affected, and we are with them in prayers and in thoughts. I know some of them were attacked in their offices, but we are praying with them through the clerk. But we are happy that they can get that courage. This is when leadership is needed. Mr. Speaker, if everybody closes, imagine judiciary today adjourns for 1 month, and you have had the Chief Justice saying, we can even do extra hours in case there are people being brought to court. Judiciary has even said, let us sit beyond normal times. Mr. Speaker, executive is working beyond the normal time. Now Parliament, where we are the representatives of the people, Senator Ledama, where we are the representatives of the people, are now going home to hide. And you know, it is unfair for the country. When the judiciary provides leadership, the executive provides, as Parliament, where we are the people represented, we should even be sitting beyond times to burn the midnight oil, Mr. Speaker, and be part of the people who will resolve the crisis, Mr. Speaker. I think we need to be serious, Mr. Speaker. I know there were, and I want to appeal, you know, under Article 37, every person has a right to demonstrate. But we want also to ask the people who demonstrate also to do it peacefully and within the confines of the rule of law. And also, we want to ask the security agencies within the country to also have proper intelligence. And this calls to question the role of National Intelligence Service, Mr. Speaker. If the new Parliament would be under siege, the number of police and the organization of security structure, including the barricade and many others, Mr. Speaker, they should have ensured that they would have planned properly, Mr. Speaker, so that we would not have witnessed situations where Parliament would be invaded, where it would be disregarded, Mr. Speaker. In some democracies, it shows that we have lost legitimacy of the people, Mr. Speaker, despite that we were elected. Where you, and therefore, the security apparatus within the country should also be on lookout. While we empathize and sympathize with the police, Mr. Speaker, I've seen a police officer who lost their hands the other day, admitted. And we empathize and sympathize. One has lost the life the other day, I think yesterday night in Kuturai. A number have been injured across the country. While we empathize and sympathize with the police, we ask the police command also and security agencies to be well organized so that in future, even if criminals want to infiltrate, Mr. Speaker, in these peaceful demonstrations, they can be isolated and dealt with. Let the criminals be dealt with as per the law and within the law, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I really want to plead as a country and as a Parliament. This is the moment we need to provide leadership. I am told, Mr. Speaker, as Winston Churchill said, the person who matters is the person in the ring that has sweat and blood in trying and resolving crisis, Mr. Speaker. When in crisis, this is when leaders are made. This is when leadership is shown. Senate Minority Leader, it is not okay for us to adjourn and go home and go and do our things and watch things through social media, through TikTok, through Viewsasa or any other media outlets, Mr. Speaker. It is us as a Senate, Mr. Speaker, I expected today in the morning to be sitting as a Senate. How do we become part of the solution to this process, that the challenges that we are facing as a country, Mr. Speaker? And I'm happy that you have found time, Mr. Speaker, to be here, despite the challenges that we saw yesterday, Mr. Speaker. Finally, Mr. Speaker, no, but that was the only way. It was a security arrangement using ambulance, Mr. Speaker. But we are happy you are safe. Other people who use ambulance, like Senator Jute, did not succeed. Their efforts were thwarted by well-organized, Mr. Speaker. And Senator Jute, in future, I was advising him, he should get a Red Cross ambulance and get the flag. You know, those ones under the law, they cannot be stopped, and even demonstrators understand. And that is my advice to Senator Jute. Finally, Mr. Speaker, this is the right time as a country to engage into the going future. We should stop name calling. We should call for peace. We should resolve, Mr. Speaker, and ensure we remain steady focused. This country belongs to all of us, Mr. Speaker. when the country goes down, it does not matter whether you are seated on minority or majority. As a country, we must come together and resolve going into the future. With those very many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I oppose 101% against the adjournment motion. Let Parliament sit and provide leadership to the country and assist in moving the country forward. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker. Senator Ledama, then Senator Kathy for gender.